Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Heidi from My Reading Life, and I'm here today to start a weekend reading vlog. I've been wanting to do another reading vlog for a while, and I'm finally gonna do one this weekend. It is Friday, June 13th. Happy Friday 13th. And we are headed up to our camp. I am having to work on this Friday, but when I am done work, we'll be headed to camp for the weekend, so I figured it was a good time to do a reading vlog. We really have not had good weather on the weekend to be at camp. This spring has been very rainy for us. In fact, it has rained the last 13 weekends in a row, I believe. So yeah, it's been difficult to do a lot of the sort of spring summer type activities that we want to do on the weekends, but we're going to camp anyway this weekend regardless. So I'm going to be focused on two books this weekend. So let's just introduce those. The first one is one that I've already started. This is 21 Lessons for the 21st Century by Yuval Noah Harari. And I picked this nonfiction book off my TBR because Yuval Noah Harari is a gay man, and it is Pride Month. So I wanted to pick something for Pride reading, and I wanted to read something off my shelves because I'm trying to read down my shelves after a couple of months of bringing in a lot of books. And this one, I just was in the mood for some nonfiction. So this, I have read the first like 115 pages of this. And I am really enjoying the concepts and ideas that he's introducing. This book was first published in 2019, so during the first Trump administration. And so it's very interesting to read this now that we're in the second Trump administration, because things have gotten even worse than they were when he first published this book. And a lot of the topics he's talking about have to do with sort of the global movement towards authoritarianism and sort of extreme right-wing ideology and what that means for liberal democracy. So in the very beginning of the book, he introduces his ideas by saying, there were three different types of government at the start of the 20th century. There was, or governmental styles. So fascism, communism, and democracy. And fascism got knocked out after World War II when the Nazis were defeated. Communism got knocked out in the 80s and 90s with the collapse of the Soviet Union. And then that left sort of democracy, liberal democracy, as the thing that was standing. And so everybody sort of assumed that was the best form of government because it was the last one standing. But as we have seen over the last couple of decades, there isn't just one way to do democracy, and some countries have they're doing a buffet style look at democracy rather than saying these are the democratic concepts that have to be applied every single time if you're going to do democracy for your government. So he sets that up as sort of the premise of this book, and then he explores different things that are impacting democracy, or what we consider a liberal democracy in the Western sense of the word. So he's, talking about employment and immigration and all that sort of thing. And so far, I am quite interested in the themes and the ideas that he's talking about. I will say I don't love his writing style. I find him to be a little bit wordy. He can be a little bit wordy. He tends to use a lot of words when maybe fewer words would get him to his point a little bit more quickly. So we shall see how it goes. It's only about 330 pages long. And I'm, like I said, 115 pages into it. So I would love to make really good progress on this one this weekend. And the fiction book that I want to focus on is one that's just for fun, because I've been reading a lot of heavy stuff lately because of the BookTube Prize and because of other things that I've been reading. And so I am going to start the second Thursday Murder Club mystery series, book in the Thursday Murder Club mystery series there. This is The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman. I have not started this yet, so this will be the book that I'm starting after work, and I'm hoping that I enjoy it as much as I did the first one. We will be going back with the same group of characters who live in a retirement community, and I am here for older folks solving murders. Like, bring it on. So that's what we'll be working on this weekend, and hopefully I will find some fun stuff to insert in between clips of me talking about these books. Saturday, June 14th. I am at camp, as you can see from my background, and I have read the first 100 pages of The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman, book number 2 in the Thursday Murder Club series, and it is such a good time. It is such a quick read, and the characters are so fun and engaging. And it is, I mean, stuff happens. There's already been a murder. And there's already been an assault. And so our 4 main characters, the 4 elderly folks that live in this retirement village, Cooper's something or other, Cooper's Corner, Cooper's Mills, I can't remember. Anyway, they live in this retirement village. And in the first book in the series, you know, we meet them all and they solve a murder. And so we're in book 2 and we know all the characters and they are engaged again in investigating a murder and an assault. And so there is some violence, and most of it happens off the page. So you're not going to have to, deal with it directly if you don't want to. But it's written in a very humorous style too. So I would say it kind of is in between cozy mystery and like regular mystery. It's not completely cozy, but it is a lot more towards the cozier end. And the humor really is really fantastic. And I do love an older protagonist. And when you have 4 that are great, it's bonus time. So there's some of the characters that appeared in the first book have already appeared in this book. The police officers that were involved last time, we've seen them. We've caught up with them. So it's definitely a book that you want to read. You don't want to read this book 2 first. You want to read book 1 first. This is a series I think you do need to read in order, at least from my opinion right now, in 100 pages into book 2. So yeah, really enjoying that. It has already been raining this morning, so this is Saturday number 14. Is it the 14th Saturday in a row this rained? 13 or 14, not for sure. But yeah, it stopped though, so I'm kind of hopeful that it was just that one shower and then we're going to get the rest of the day with no rain. But anyway, that's the update, and I will be back when I have finished more of the book. I'm here for a Monday morning check-in on this vlog. I didn't get to check in yesterday at all. Sunday went a bit off the rails from what I had thought my day was going to be, and it ended up that I had a migraine in the afternoon, so I didn't come back on and check in with you like I wanted to, because I finished this Richard Osman book on Saturday night. Yeah, I could not stop reading this on Saturday. I had such a good time reading this. I had such a good time with the characters. I really enjoy the 4 older folks that are our 4 main characters in these series of mystery novels. The Man Who Died Twice. I can't really talk about it because I feel like I would give a lot of spoilers. But let's just say that our main character, Elizabeth, who's sort of the leader of the gang of these 4 older folks in this retirement village, she has a blast from the past. A person from her past comes back into her life and sort of sets the ball rolling for the mystery in this particular episode. And it is quite, what's the word I want to say? There's lots of twists and turns. I had guessed some things, but I didn't guess everything. I didn't guess in the end who was the murderer, because that is what our group of friends is solving. Again, is a murder, along with some other things that they are investigating, including trying to make sure justice is served to somebody who assaults one of their friends. So it's just fantastic. The characters are just so much fun. It's found family, and very humorous. And yes, there is murder on the page, but it's handled in a way that does not, for me, it was not gory or anything like that. It sort of straddles, I think I talked about this before, how these books straddle the line of cozy mystery and more hardcore mysteries. So I really enjoy them. Definitely going to be picking up the rest in this series. I'm now a fan. So yeah, that has been a huge success for me to find those books and to start that series this year. I continue to make progress on 21 Lessons for the 21st Century by Yuval Noah Harari, which I picked up for Pride Month reading because the author is a gay man. And I am on page 195 of this nonfiction book. This is sort of Harari's take on all of the things that are, if we want democracy to continue to move forward as a government structure, the things that we need to be concerned with and aware of. So he's talking about things like AI. He's talking about employment rules and practices. He's talking about how we deal with immigration. I just read the chapter on immigration. I just read a chapter on war, and what war will look like going forward into the future now that, the large countries that have been in power since World War II that had nuclear technology, have avoided basically going to war in the way that we used to in, World War I, World War II, those types of wars. But should some other actors get their hands on nuclear weaponry, all bets are off, and what that would do to the world. So this is not light reading at all. And I do find it's quite appropriate for where we are politically right now in this time period. There's a lot of things to consider and think about and try to get your mind around how we might move forward, sort of not just in the United States or in your country, but globally. I will say this book came out in 2018, I think, or 2019, during the first Trump presidency. And some of the things in here are dated because world events have taken over. I just read a section about, Harari lives in Israel. He's a professor in Israel, in Jerusalem, and he was talking about Israel and their approach to Gaza. And of course, this was before the war and before Israel started, basically bombing the crap out of Gaza and conducting genocide. And so his take on that is it's jarring because it's that's not what happened. His prediction did not come true. And then there's a section in here where he talks about Russia. And at the time, Russia had not, invaded Ukraine. That happened after this book was published. And so that is also you're kind of oh God, that feels awkward. So just know that it's a little bit dated in those areas and some other global events that have happened that he, of course, could not have predicted because, nobody has a crystal ball to see the future. And I do not always get on with his writing style. I am having a hard time staying connected to his writing. And so for me, I read a lot of what some people would consider dry nonfiction, right? I'm a big fan of presidential biographies, and I read a lot of other very serious nonfiction. But I just, for whatever reason, his writing style and my brain do not hook up. And so I have to really pay attention in order to get what he's trying to say. And I feel like he's very wordy in places. Like sometimes I'll be reading right along and his examples and everything, and I'm like, yep, I'm totally into it. And then all of a sudden I will bog down and I'll be like, what is he even saying? So just be aware of that. I don't know what your experience is with this author, if you've read him before. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels like, I don't know why my brain just won't lock in with his writing style, but I do feel that way. But I'm 200 pages into this like 330 page or a little bit through over 300 page piece of nonfiction. I'm like, I'm not going to give up now. I'm just going to finish this up. So yeah, like a mixed bag, I guess is what I would say. Like his ideas are very good, but like I'm just not, as the kids say, I'm not vibing with his writing style. Wow, that was really lame. Sorry about that. So anyway, that's the update. I'm going to take the rest of today and see what I get read, and do like one final check-in with you before I close up this weekend reading vlog in the style of a mid-month book bash. Here I am to wrap up the vlog. I have read another 50 pages in 21 lessons for the 21st century. And I will say that this end section, I think I'm in the last bit of this book, is holding my attention better than the middle part did. So that's good. There's a lot of really interesting conversation in this about how humans see the world, how we make decisions, the fact that we all prize individuality, particularly in the Western part of the world, but really humans are, we're a group mentality type of a species, and that most of the decisions we make are because other members of the group are making the same decisions, and that we're really actually bad at going our own way and being outside of the group. And there's a lot in here about how we process information as a species, and the fact that there's so much disinformation out there, which we all know and we all tend to blame on the internet, but that in fact, for ever since humans came down out of the trees, that basically we've been a species that has spread disinformation. And so now it's easier to do that with technology, but it's not like we haven't always had propaganda, or that people in power haven't used propaganda to like get groups of people to do what they wanted them to do. And so he's talking in this, I marked this section and I wanted to share it with you because he's comparing religion to fake news. And he says, a lot of people will be upset by him doing that, but that's exactly the point. When 1,000 people believe some made-up story for 1 month, that's fake news. When 1 billion people believe it for thousands of years, that's religion. And we are admonished not to call it fake news in order not to hurt the feelings of the faithful or incur their wrath. And I was like, yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, I just think he has some really good points to make. He tends to get philosophical, which is not my cup of tea. I don't read a lot of philosophy and I don't get on with it. But I think he's making some really good points about, sort of human nature and the fact that we all need to cut ourselves a break, and that if everything in the world feels like it's hard to understand and you can't wrap your brain around it, that's true. Like that is accurate and you shouldn't feel bad about it, that is just how it is, and that you need to like accept the fact that you can't know everything, but you also have to put the work and the effort in to verify things and to make sure that you're not just swallowing some lie hook, line, and sinker. Do your own research, check your facts. And he does say, don't just, one point that he makes, I thought that was really good, is if you are getting your news for free, you are probably getting lied to. And that if you're willing to pay money for things of quality, whether that's food or your housing or whatever, like you have to be willing to pay money to have quality information as well. And if if the only information you're getting is the free information, like you're probably getting some crap fed to you. And in fact, that you are the product. And that is how people are making money off you, because you have accepted this free version. And that's, that's what Facebook is. That's what social media is it's a free way to get your personal information so that companies can make money. You are the product. And in turn, you get fed a whole bunch of crap. So definitely, think about that when you're reading information online, and make sure that you're checking your sources and all that sort of stuff. Excellent point that he makes. So I have about 75 pages left of this before I'm done. Obviously not going to finish it before the end of this vlog. I am going to end the vlog here, and hope that you're all doing well and finding some great books to read. I will talk to you later.